Hey, what's up, you guys? It's Bloody Jacob here to bring you my review of the second episode of the new AMC TV series Breaking Bad spinoff and prequel, Better Call Saul. And this episode's title was, I can't pronounce it. I'd have to hear Tuco's grandma say it a few more times for me to fully have it implemented and burned into my mind. But I won't try to butcher the title. But you guys know what the title is. Obviously, will be on the title of the video. Anyway, so if you guys watch my video on the pilot, or the not really the pilot, more like just the premiere episode of the show, Uno, you'll know there are parts I liked about it, and then there are parts I thought were a little bit too slow, or I don't know. But I'm really hoping this show is sort of like the earlier Breaking Bad style of it being like a slow burn, slow building type of show. That's what I'm kind of expecting from it. So I'm not really going to bash it too much if it feels a bit slow to me. At least until it gets later on, and if it's still giving off that feel to me, then it might. But for now, I'm giving it a pass because I'm thinking, it could have that same Breaking Bad magic within it. But no, I do not expect this to be Breaking Bad 2.0 like a lot of people seem to. I'm not expecting this to be on the same level as the Walter White, Jesse Pinkman story. But this episode, I think, was an improvement over the premiere because, of course, we got Tuco appearing at the end of the last episode, and that was the best part of this entire following episode, trust me. We really see the start of Saul's magic with his verbal skills and his manipulative nature and his just sort of like a skeevy really well thought mind for the business, pretty much, that he can pretty much talk his way out of any situation, it seems to be. So we really got to see a lot of that here. And at first it looked like Tuco had actually killed the two skateboarders we met in the first episode. And, but no, it turns out he just, injured him fairly badly and had him tied up in the garage. And it was kind of funny seeing Tuco's grandma coming down and, her watching her shows and stuff. And Tuco was saying he spilled salsa on the carpet. But we all know what that is, salsa from our, carrot-topped, heads here. I don't know why I said that. But anyway, it was really good because, we also got to see... It's really good seeing, Raymond Cruz back in the role of Tuco. He was, the biggest antagonist early on in Breaking Bad up to the point he appeared in. And he's really good here as well. He brings that intensity to it that I like, and I like that part. And as far as, the rest of that goes, I liked how they also had a bit of, they showed more about what happened with, I'm kind of jumping around here, but, what happened with Saul, or I should say Jimmy's brother. It seems like he had, a bit of a phobia or something, I'm not quite sure. But, it had to do with, Saul's cell phone coming, and, Saul brought, this review isn't going well for me. I mean, it's getting late again, but anyway. So yeah, that whole Tuco thing was crazy because it really reminds you of Breaking Bad. They're still in New Mexico, and Tuco ends up bringing the three of them out to the desert. And it was funny because we get to see one of Tuco's henchmen here is a guy we see later on in Breaking Bad. And, that guy is the one Tuco actually beats to death in front of Jesse and Walt. And that would be the guy in the gray hoodie. I don't know his name. I don't know if he had a name. But, and also, there's the larger, chubbier guard he has. His cousin, I think he might have been. Who gets his arm injured and sort of, bleeds out. And, Hank finds his body and stuff, if you guys remember that in Breaking Bad. So it's kind of, a nice little nod to see them. As little of a part as they played. It's still kind of cool to see that nod back to the original series. And they really expanded upon, like I said, Saul's verbal skills out in the desert here. I didn't really... I was impressed with Saul, or Jimmy, because, Jimmy actually negotiated... He talked his way out of, saving his own life. But not only did he do that, he also negotiated saving the lives of, the two skateboarders there. And yes, these two skateboarders didn't really deserve it from him because they tried to make a whole lie saying, Jimmy was actually trying to, set up Tuco and his grandmother personally with a whole scam there. But as, Jimmy swiftly explains to him, to Tuco anyway, that, it was all set up for that Betsy, his client, stolen from him. He was trying to set it up so he'd get her business. He was scamming her, not, Tuco and his grandma. So it was really, smart how Saul explained that all. And, Saul has to have a bit of courage in him to go off on himself, to go off when he's in the face of a guy like Tuco. Like, even Tuco says, he has a big mouth on him. And, Saul says, thank you. But, and he negotiates the release of the skateboarders. Not in the most clean sense possible, because, he basically has it come down to, okay, you break one of their legs each, and, you let them live, because, that way they won't be able to skateboard for a long time. So he kind of gets in Tuco's mind that he's this judge. He's tough, but he knows what's really fair, and he's the one who gets to decide that. He has to really think, because it's in his hands and stuff like that. So Saul actually, I keep on saying Saul, Jimmy actually manipulates Tuco really well here, and it really works in his favor, and also in the favor of the skateboarders, even if they cannot see it at this point. But I wonder if we'll see these guys later on in the show too. I'm sure we will. And if not, it doesn't really matter too much. But they sort of remind me and my dad, who also watches this show, as well as Breaking Bad, Dexter, The Walking Dead, and a bunch of other things with me. We both kind of reminded of, Skinny Pete and Badger from these two guys here. So it would be kind of funny to see them again and see them just basically act like idiots a few more times, but we'll see. And so that whole desert scene and the whole scene with Tuco and, Jimmy and Tuco's grandma's house, is all really good. Definitely the highlight of the episode for me. And, the only downside to seeing, characters like Tuco and Mike and whoever else shows up, from who we seen the fate of in Breaking Bad, the downside is that we've seen the fate of them, so we know that they're not going to die here, and we know how they die, so it kind of takes away some of the intensity of it all. But at the same time, obviously it is cool to see characters who were established in the original, groundbreaking series. But, it's just it's really about Saul's journey and how he got so good at his job and how he was, he's so easily able to do all of that by the point of Breaking Bad. So, there's a bit of a downside, like I said, to knowing what happens to some of these characters eventually, so taking away some of the intensity of it, but it's still pretty good. If they write it the right way, it can still work pretty well. Because we also see, I forget exactly how he's related to Tuco, but this other guy sort of helps to talk Tuco down as well. And, he later shows up at Jimmy's office, because Jimmy had admitted he was a lawyer after trying to say he was an FBI agent, which actually kind of worked on Tuco, but, he saw through that. And, they basically said, that we can work together and sort of I can give you 10% of what we make, and we can help you get your money, from Betsy, the clients from the first episode and stuff like that. So, it's sort of the first tip of, Saul stepping into that world this whole episode was. So that was all fantastic, I actually think. I enjoyed this episode a lot, and mainly because of everything that went on with that. And Bob Odenkirk's acting is really, really on point. He just does the role so well in general. I could do a whole video talking about the character, really. Just like a bunch of other characters, some shows I watch, but still, he does really well. And, let's see. Like I mentioned the scenes with his brother. He goes out drinking, and, it's funny, he's at a bar, and he sees this guy, snapping things, and it reminds me of, the Tuco breaking the two skateboarders' legs in the desert, so it's kind of funny, and it makes him, throw up in the bathroom. While a girl was, trying to sweet talk him and stuff like that. And, so he shows back up at his brother's place, he's drunk, he sort of passes out pretty quickly, we sort of see more about his brother's phobia with, throwing Saul's phone or Jimmy's phone outside. And, then we see that he sees the forum about, Saul paying for, the skateboarders' broken legs and stuff like that. And so I wonder what's going to end up happening with his brother in the series as well, because I don't think he's around at the point of Breaking Bad of when that starts. Unless we see a character from Better Call Saul appear in like a after Breaking Bad scene later on or something, that'd be cool. Or like towards the end of the series, we see how it all really connects to that Cinnabon ending. But I'd like them to expand upon that at least later in the series. I'm sure they will. Unless, Saul's life just goes completely flat like that, but I don't think it will end there. But that's a discussion for another time. And, so, we're really going to probably spend a lot of the season seeing if, Saul can work out that deal with, the Hamilton firm and stuff like that, and see if he can get his brother back in there and stuff, so that should be interesting. But yeah, that's all I really have to say about this episode. Also, it was cool seeing Mike in it again. He's he's at the gate. He's constantly telling Saul, "You gotta get 5 stickers. You only have 4 here," and Saul has to keep on going back and forth. So that's pretty funny. I just wonder when we're gonna see that scene from the preview a while ago of when Saul goes up and tries to grab Mike, but Mike, of course, bends his arm back and puts him on the ground. I wonder when we're gonna see that. I hope they just didn't cut that scene out. I'm sure we'll see it eventually though. And I hope we see, Mike's role sort of expanded upon, because as we know from Breaking Bad, he was a cop at one point. I'm guessing this is, way after that, and I'm guessing he had some work before then. So I'm kind of hoping he gets more heavily involved as the show goes on, which he should. Jonathan Minks is a fantastic actor, and especially in this role. So yeah, that's all I really have to say about this episode. I really enjoyed it. I actually think it was a bit better than the premiere pilot episode was. Not really pilot again, but I thought it was better than the first episode. And I'll be watching next week. Let's see, I think it's on a different night starting next week though. Let me check. Yeah, it's on Mondays now. It's going to be every Monday instead of Sunday, so you don't have to worry about that interrupting The Talking Dead for you guys who watch that anymore. But so I'll be doing a review for this each week if I can. And so I'll catch you guys next time. And peace.